Well, this morning I ran into some glitches with my digital recorder, so I don't have any audio to share from this morning's open-air preaching at the San Fernando Courthouse. I was frustrated when I got home and realized I had no audio. Hearing and seeing my frustration, my wife simply said, "God knows what happened at the courthouse. That's enough." Well, she was right, as she so often is. God does know, and that is enough. And while there may be no audio diary from this morning, there is a photo diary. As I sorted through the 150 plus pictures my daughter Amanda took during the hour we spent at the courthouse this morning, many of the pictures contained something that riveted me to the computer screen. Faces. As I clicked through each photo, my conviction grew. The Lord subtly yet so very deeply reminded me that open-air preaching is not about the audio or the video or the photos. It's not about the next blog post or developing the next great analogy or the next great transition from the natural to the spiritual. It's not about YouTube or GodTube or any other tube. It's not even about training and edifying other Christians while challenging them to proclaim the gospel in a biblical way, although encouraging and challenging Christians is certainly important. No, it's about the faces. It's about the faces of mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters. It's about the faces of both criminals and victims. It's about the faces of the lost who comprise each of the before-mentioned categories and so many others. When you proclaim the gospel, whether preaching in the open air, during one-to-one conversations, or when distributing gospel tracts, do you see their faces? More importantly, do you remember their faces? Do you picture them in your mind as you fall asleep? Do you think of them when you're awake or from time to time throughout the day? And what do you see in their faces? What do you see? Do you see the enemy? Do you see a spiritual conquest? Do you see them as a line of people or people standing in line? What is more important to you, the line, giving you an opportunity to preach, or the people whom you desperately want to reach? What do you see? Faces. The faces of lost and dying people. The faces of Christians whose hearts have grown lukewarm. The faces of true converts and false converts. The faces of those who profess to believe a gospel they despise. The faces of the pious and the pagan. The believer and the blasphemer. The receiver and the rejecter. So many faces. So my encouragement to you today is to remember those faces. Never forget the faces. Remember that those expressive, beautiful, intelligently designed eyes are the windows to a soul that will live in heaven or in hell for all eternity. So go now and proclaim the gospel. Serve as a herald and ambassador to the King. Look into the eyes of the lost as you speak. Let them see the love in your eyes as you preach. And remember their faces. Pray for their faces. Weep for those faces. And may the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And please, remember the faces.